New York Jets finally get their man in Aaron Rodgers after the whole offseason. We know the Jets have been chasing Rodgers and trying to get him in a deal, and it finally comes to fruition a few days before the NFL draft. So last season, Aaron Rodgers, to be honest, one of the worst years of his NFL career after coming off a two-monster season and MVP years. In 2022 with the Packers, for Rodgers, he played all 17 games, 3,695 pass yards, 64.6% completion, but 26 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, which is a high rate for Aaron Rodgers. And now he goes from a Green Bay Packer team to the New York Jets. And the Jets, they got some decent weapons. Alan Lazard's over there, obviously, with the Jets. He signed after leaving Green Bay in free agency, so he's familiar with him. Garrett Wilson, who had a solid rookie year, pretty much with no quarterback, with Zach Wilson and Mike White for the majority of the season. And you got Breece Hall. If he could come back healthy, he could be a top 10 running back in the league. So in terms of fantasy football, Aaron Rodgers, he's a guy I would take in the second or third tier of quarterbacks going off the board in fantasy football, because last season there wasn't many good quarterbacks, believe it or not, in fantasy football. And I know Aaron Rodgers had a down year, no doubt about it, last season for fantasy owners, where he was only topping out at about 20, 23 fantasy points per week. But now he goes to a New York Jet team where they have a little bit better weapons than I think the Packers did last season in the receiving core is this Jet team. So right now, in terms of fantasy football, like I said, 12th, 15th round range here, Aaron Rodgers. If you want to draft him as a starter, you could. But to be honest, I think there's going to be some games where he's going to be good as Rodgers, and some games where, like last season, he'll only score 10, 15 fantasy points. So as a backup, it's a good move for fantasy football. But to go in there as a full-time starter, I don't know if you could trust him going to a new team, obviously, and after what we saw for him last season without Davante Adams. I know the Jets have Wilson and Lazard, but none of those guys are Davante Adams. Aaron Rodgers finally traded to the New York Jets after rumors for months that this was going to happen. And we'll see if he can help this New York Jet team get to the next level next season and fantasy owners with a bounce-back year in the upcoming 2023 season.